Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner MetaZone, Rovi, and MScribe, and today we're going to be talking about Launch.fun.
What's that, dude?
It's all the launches and .funs combined.
That sounds like a super app to me.
Yeah, it is.
One. So that seems to be what everybody's striving for, right?
Yeah,
let's figure out the optimal launch format.
Yeah, it's a category of Launchpads we're going to be talking about today, and we feel like there's sort of like an alignment happening here in terms of, launching tokens, solving the liquidity problem when you launch a token. It's basically kind of like free and fair for the most part, like equal distributions. And then we're going to be talking about how creators benefit directly through this mechanism.
Yeah, so it seems like just per our analysis of the space, we're seeing a lot of the similar trends among these different chains, right? It is like the race between, who could dev / design the most optimal creator ecosystem, right? Whether it's for memes, AI agents,
correct,
content coins, even maybe at some point it'll expand infinitely, right? It could be JPEGs might come back into the conversation one day, right? Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine us caring about art again. That would be a shocker of all shockers for this cycle. Somehow we brought it all back, right?
It's quite possible.
It's very possible, right? But the idea is we got to formulate a mechanic that bootstraps liquidity at its like lowest form factor, so that
lowest valuation.
Yeah, that way it increases the scope of who can participate here, right? That's what you want, because that means more creators, more creations, more deployments.
Yep.
More charts, right? More things happening.
Yeah, so if you were around in 2021, people were launching PFP projects, and they were just selling pictures, pretty right? Much, and so the money went from like the people minting to the creators, and so in this cycle, that hasn't really sort of like come back again.
Not at all. No, because I don't know if there's just not as much like money out there to justify like raised collections, meaning like a collection where the entry price is like a couple $100, if not more, just for one piece of a collection, right?
Yeah, it's because of those damn tariffs, dude.
Yeah, whatever it is, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever makes these things unaffordable or just like unpalatable. Maybe it's because we already went through that experience and we want something new and different.
Yeah.
So like these whole bonding curves and these automated market making solutions that make things much more centered around the fungible tokens of this cycle, right? For that utility.
Correct. Yeah. And the interesting thing here is that the market cap when things, complete the bonding curve are around $70,000, $100,000 market cap.
Yeah.
And so this is a far cry smaller than what you would find in like a typical PFP launch.
That's true.
Back in 2021. Yeah,
all those launches were raising millions, right?
That's right.
So the starting entry gate to that arena of speculation,
several millions.
1 to 5 to 10 to 15 to 30 million.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and at the time it was reasonable.
Yeah.
But not this time.
Right. So so the industry is clearly trying to find the reasonable approach, the reasonable packaging of a product mania, if you will, similar to what we had last cycle with NFT launches, right? PFP collections. So here we are. Let's explore some of the iterations and what's the state of things in the .fun economy.
Yeah, and if you want a summary, I definitely invite you guys to read this tweet thread specifically from Blockwords research, and it goes into pump.fun. It talks about the amount of money it's generating and like its domination in the space. It talks about Radium protocol, Jupiter Exchange, and Boop.fun, which is a new entrance into the ecosystem, Base as well. And for example, it says, despite these launchpads dominating new token creations, non-launchpad affiliated meme coins dominate the overall meme volume. So this is a pretty good breakdown of what's been happening, and you'll see here that there's a trend on launchpads sort of addressing the issue of liquidity and then seeding value to the creator from the volume of the DEX. So one of the examples here is Radium. So they launched LaunchLab and created an SDK so that anybody can launch their own platform using their smart contracts on Solana.
Yeah, which is a big deal, right? Because that introduces new product iterations like we talked about.
That's right.
Somebody who's not so focused on the meme market. Maybe they think, memes have kind of like exhausted themselves, but there's plenty of other crypto native products we could be leveraging these technology rails for.
Yeah.
For example,
PFPs. Yeah.
NFTs. Maybe these things apply. So, those devs can come in and start to experiment with that, right? Because you don't have to build the infra from the ground up.
Yeah, so the creator experience changes from, like, let's say launching a project and then selecting a price to sell your tokens or NFTs. You use this bonding curve, and it's essentially sets the price for your entire lot that you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can set 50% can be set to community pool, 25% Ray buybacks. So basically, you can set up your own sort of like scheme to like purchase your own tokens. But this one's specifically for what Radium is doing with its own earnings rate here. And so they also have a referral program, and then so that's Radium and the Launchpad SDK. And there's another one, Bonk.fun, made $575,000 in bonding curve over the last 3 days.
Yeah,
from launching.
So this is a team that you utilize that SDK we're talking about.
That's right.
The product itself, so this is like an outdated chart. If you look at the actual one today,
yeah,
it basically fizzled out like after 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, I think they had an example here.
Yeah, there it is.
This is it.
Yeah, here it is in the process of fizzling out, right? Because it's more memes, and in this case, it's memes centered around Bonk, right,
Mm-hmm.
which is a meme coin or meme community.
So it's a meme community launching more memes.
A meme platform for its meme community.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're able to quickly roll out these platforms, but the juice of creativity only can stretch so far for like a single meme, right?
Yeah.
So not the most practical, most
yeah. It's not the most ideal application of the technology here.
But it proves a point, right? Like just within a few days, something as simple as this, another meme platform centered around just one community IP, generated $500,000 to upwards to $1 million in fees.
That's fees directly to them that they get.
And Radium's getting their share too, of course.
Yeah, correct. 0.25%.
Yeah, so these platform creators, you could leverage that revenue for different means, right? You could redistribute that to, deployers.
Yeah.
Which the next one is actually kind of like doing, right? Boop.
Yeah, so Boop.fun rewards the Solana ecosystem's memes makers and risk takers. My platform puts the fees right back into the trenches and hands out rewards to real one creating and supporting the favorite cults. So this is the one that's interesting where you launch on Boop.fun and the volume here goes to the creator. Is that right?
No, I think it's like an airdrop incentive.
Yeah. So they're incentivizing people to hold the Boop token.
Yeah, and to launch their own cults, right? So the better your cults perform in their market environment, then the more Boop token airdrop distribution you will receive, right? So again, it's up to the deployer, the creator. If they want to use that Boop token, you could liquidate that in the market and then use those funds to, I don't know, amplify marketing maybe, or just like send them to your holders, right? You can do that.
So Boop.fun is incentivizing people to purchase the token and stake the token to get 5% of every graduated token.
Yeah, so that's directed to the degen, right?
Yeah.
It's like, because it's hard being a trencher. In case you didn't know that, Will. I'm sure you don't know. How many days have you think you spent in the trenches so far this cycle?
I've trenched probably like, let's say 30 minutes. In this whole cycle.
You didn't like what you saw.
No, I did not.
You fucking hit the eject button real quick, dude. I don't blame you because that shit is not fun.
Despite the name.
Yeah, even though it implies it is, it's really not. To be a trencher, it's a brutal lifestyle, dude. You're like literally glued to your screen.
It's pump.sad, dude.
You fall asleep. You wake up, you find out you missed a $100 million runner, right? And you want to literally jump off a bridge. So like you're in a perpetual state of I cannot not be looking at this stuff, right? So they developed a mechanic where all you have to do is simply buy this Boop, stake it, lock it up, and now you've got like a passive participation angle where you don't even have to be present.
Yeah.
If some token runs on this platform, you're getting an allocation. Now it might not be a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's 5% of the graduated token distributed proportionally to all the stakers.
Yeah, which there's probably going to be thousands of them, maybe even tens of thousands of them. So it's like
what you get is it's nothing.
But again, you don't have to deal with the
staying
the
up all night.
brutality of that life, dude. But if you're a true trencher, like, this is not for you.
Yeah.
You'll do better on pump.fun, right?
Yeah. And then, so in addition, 60% of the sold trading fees also goes to you as a staker.
That's right. Yeah, you just, exactly. So the better these memes or these cults, whatever, perform, the more passive earnings you get. Yeah. That introduces a discrepancy that some people are seeing problems with, right?
Yeah. So, and 30% of the fees goes for Boop buyback. So 60, that's 90, 95%. 5% probably goes directly to the Boop.fun team, right?
I don't know. I guess.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So that's Boop.fun. And so this is the platform.
It looks very similar to all other Launchpads, right?
Yeah, correct.
It's kind of like how in the NFT days, it's like there were so many NFT markets. They all looked pretty similar, right?
Yeah, correct.
They're all launching the same product. Some of them had their own token incentives. Remember Rarible?
Yep, I do.
Remember that one? Remember Blur?
Yep.
Right? So we're kind of seeing the same like history play out here in regards to like this launch, these pump mechanics, right? Like these pump platforms. You know, some have tokens, some don't. Some have kickback incentives to the community. Some are like reducing fees. Some are creating more fees so that they can support creators, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But nobody knows which of this stuff is going to really work out. At least not yet.
Yeah, and some things Boop.fun is one of the only pump creators or competitors I could see impacting the Launchpad landscape, as all the other clones have failed to provide any incentive for traders outside of copy-pasting the UI. So if stakers can be the house, then this becomes attractive for the gamblers and the sideliners unwilling to trade these coins or spend any time in the trenches.
Yeah.
It has been apparent that the meme coins have been the biggest trend this cycle, but few ways to own upside in the casino.
Yeah, so
it's true.
That's it. It's just simply you own a stake of the casino's like well-doings, essentially, passively. And people love those types of opportunities, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, it's still brand new. This thing happened like a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so Pump.fun's been around for more than a year. It took them a minute to really take off as well. So
it did, yeah.
Something to keep an eye on for sure.
All right, so let's take a look at this from the perspective of a creator.
It's true. If somebody's not happy.
Yeah. It says $6,000 in LP rewards in 4 hours from Boopy, which is the token he launched, and I, the creator, got $0. Okay, so I just knew from Boop.fun team that I get nothing from LP rewards from Boopy. I bought nothing from the coin when I created it, and I still own nothing, as I thought I would always be earning by building through the LP rewards. So this is not the case for Boop.fun, and so he's pretty unhappy because he assumed that this was like many of what's going on base.
Yeah.
Where you launch a token, the volume in that token, a portion of it goes to the creator.
Yeah. I guess there's a little bit of a misalignment. So, I mean, I get it. It would be more, I'd feel more sympathy if you're like creating like something actually. I mean, there's responsibility and I guess effort that goes into nurturing a meme for sure. Right? You can't just deploy a ticker and expect it to to run. Like if you go look at the platform, the number one token's called Boopa, I think.
Yeah.
And just if you go look at the you can just sort it by market cap. There it is, that cute little dog right there. It's an influencer launched coin, Sir Peters, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to his Twitter feed, he's literally tweeting every 10 to 15 minutes something about this damn dog, which is why it's taken like number one spot, right?
Yeah.
So that is the level of commitment and work that a creator puts into this stuff. So typically the incentive to do that is for the creator to purchase a significant percent of the supply that eventually they end up liquidating on their own community, right? To sustain that degree of effort. So it makes a little bit more sense to find new sustainment mechanisms, right? Like fees.
Like incentivizing people to buy the token, and when they do, you get a portion of those fees from the DEX.
Correct. So yeah, so this guy, he's probably one of many. He's like, dude, why am I gonna sit here and like pump this token for the rest of you guys to get rich, basically? So yeah, something to consider if you're Boop, if you're building a Launchpad, right? Maybe center some of that energy back to the creator.
That's right. Right. Ethan, Auto.fun. So this is another one by Eliza OS, is shaping up to be one of the most innovative AI agent launchpads in the space. Several projects have already launched and bonded on the platform. So we got Squid, Eli 5, and Taps. So they're under 2 million each. And here's what makes Auto.fun different. Bonding curves that give projects sustainable runway, teams that can secure up to 50% of the tokens before listing, a no-code agent builder, built-in AI marketing tools, liquidity NFTs, and the reward builders with trading fees. So overall, Auto.fun is trying to ensure that projects launching on the platform have the tools not just to attract the audience, but to retain and grow it sustainably.
So here you go. So they're piggybacking on our sentiment we've just discovered, right?
Yep, that's right.
And it makes sense for the if you think launching a meme ticker requires some effort and work, creating some marketable AI agent that actually garners some attention and use, that must take even more effort, right? That means you actually have to develop something.
That's right, yeah.
Right? You have to understand how LLMs function and how they apply. And you got to build contextual databases and such to give them specific purpose functionalities. Like if you want your agent to be very good at making, I don't know, documentation maybe for startups.
Yeah.
We struggle with that.
Yep.
We like to launch new products and stuff, but we're terrible at creating documentation. Maybe you could build an agent that just can look at your platform.
Yeah.
You give it the code access, and it just churns out some magnificent docs, right?
Yeah, yeah. It should be able to do that.
Some agents should be able to do that. So, yeah. So, again, work takes time and money, right? So, we got to find these vectors of sustainability, which seems like they're addressing.
Yeah, so Auto.fun is a better, fair launchpad platform that actually rewards builders and creates long-lasting communities. No token dumping to fund your roadmap. No, maybe we'll raise later cope. So liquidity NFTs issued on graduation allow project creators to claim trading fees on Radium protocol as part of their SDK.
Yeah.
No-code AI-enabled content creation means your new token doesn't look like a ghost town on day one. And then Fleek integration lets you launch on an agent alongside your token to get the word out. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. This is a different take. And so here's a platform, what that looks like.
Yeah, again, similar UI, right, to what we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, here they are. They're all launching at lightning speed. I'm sure you could sort these by market cap and do your own individual due diligence on each one. Just to kind of make a determination, right? Is this worthy of an investment or not? Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So I find it interesting that all these platforms, you look at sort by market cap and they're in the, low millions. This is like penny stocks, the equivalent.
Yeah. I mean, these are hyper
volatile,
hyper risk territories, guys. So
yeah.
I mean, this is stuff. If you have an appetite for that, this is for you. But if you don't have an appetite for that, that's something you want to stay away from completely, right?
Yeah.
This is experimental grounds. Highly likely most of these are rugs, right?
Yeah.
So but factor that into your, participation guidelines, basically.
Yeah, so Eliza OS, 6 new agents have launched, tools that caught the eye this week. So we have Tapestry, an agent that scouts IP. We have The Intern. This is a marketing agent that lives on X.
He doesn't need that.
Yeah. You need full-time
I know.
bot for that. Agent AI. We have Data Barista, timeline native matchmaking, Soulmates, intent-based connection agent.
Actually?
Wow.
Like
her?
They're trying to find you other humans, right? They're not
oh, is that? Okay.
I think so. It's discover meaningful connections. I see. So it probably is like a matchmaker agent, I guess.
Yeah. Tell what kind of relationship you're open to, networking, friendship, romance, and let the agent filter and introduce.
What the fuck, dude? It's like a wingman.
Dude, that's what it should have been called, a wingman.
That's such a better AI.
Yeah.
It's your wingman, dude. Who doesn't need that in this day and age? We're all so lonely and super beta, right?
Yeah.
Most of us, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty bad at what's the word?
The Riz?
Having enough Riz to make that first move, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just hey, babe. Or no,
it's
don't start with that.
Sup.
Yeah, don't start with hey, babe. Clearly, I don't have any Riz, dude. That's like an insta block. So maybe a sup or
sup.
Hey, I like your dude. I got nothing, man. I don't know any openers. TJ, help me out, dude. Bail me out.
Dude, I've been out of the game for a long time.
Yeah, our game is off, dude.
Yeah,
Pretty
we got no jumpers here, dude.
Yeah, nothing.
All right, so Bankless. This one's interesting too because they basically break down virtuals. So 2 weeks ago, Virtuals launched Genesis, a new token launchpad system aiming to reward contributors, not speculators. So Virtuals is interesting because, long story short, this is more alike an IDO platform than like a launchpad platform.
Yeah, it's becoming that, or at least the Genesis portion of Virtuals, right? Because they still have their legacy, bonding curve model, which is it's like pump.fun, or like kind of like what Auto.fun is. It's just, launch your agent on a bonding curve.
Yeah.
But they've ran that experiment for a few months now, and it fizzled out because,
They were successful too. Very successful.
They made probably like $100 million in fees or something like that.
Yeah.
So it did well. Again, another data point that, the market is craving this, like, these on-chain bootstrapping launch mechanisms, right? For whatever market purpose. But there's problems, right? Like sniping.
Yeah.
Just the fickleness of like the existing demographic where the strategy is just to hot potato around different token launches. Therefore, like all the charts are just always like death spirals. Right?
Yeah. You don't stay in a token more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, you can't. Even if it might be a good one, right?
Yeah.
But it's like it's too risky at this point. The market understands that. So let's build something that's a little bit more incentivized for long-term growth, right?
Yeah. So 0x Jeff here. So this is one that we've kind of featured on
quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit. Yeah. So this is some initial thoughts on Virtual Genesis launch. The ROI hinges on project selection. Your point could be worth 30 cents per point if you invest in a good project, or a penny if you're any subpar one. So points, talking about virgin
virgin points.
Yeah, virgin points. Yeah. Yapping for points remains the easiest and most efficient way to track points, and that's going to lead us to the final tweet here. Yapping. It says, yes, posting on crypto Twitter can farm points. It's by far the most lucrative, and especially for smaller players. So the more points you have, the more allocation to a new launch you have, and therefore the more upside potential that you have. That's why it's more aligned with like an IDO platform of the past than just like a traditional launchpad with bonding curves.
Yeah, like the way it works, 24-hour basically pre-sale for a launch. You get in if you believe in the project, and you have to spend some of your virgin point allocation in order to get like an actual allocation of this new token that's about to launch.
Right.
But the incentive here is the longer you hold those tokens, those agent coins, the more virgin points you accrue. So like they're encouraging holding instead of, trading.
Yeah, so you spend virgin points, you hold the token that you've got allocation for, and then you earn more points as a result.
Yeah, so long as it's a good one, right? And the data suggests most of them aren't going lower than like essentially launch prices, at least not yet.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
We saw this during the IDO mania of last cycle, where for a good minute, it was like a guaranteed ROI for any IDO.
It was,
it's like a 10x at minimum.
Yeah.
Right? A 10x was a bad IDO. Some of them were 100, 200, 300 X's.
Yep.
So virtuals might be like the next iteration of that. So the strategy just being find a good agent, because there's many of them launching. Probably some of them are grifts. Actually, for sure, some of them are grifts. Some of them might be legitimate, like technical offerings. Who knows? And maybe it's not 100% centered around that. It just has a good community, good marketing, whatever, to keep the token up for long enough as you're holding to accrue your diamond hand points, or whatever you call them, for the virgin point stacking.
Yeah.
It's like you're really not losing any money, right? And the idea is you keep compounding that into new launches over time. So
yeah, that's right.
It's a neat little flywheel, but it's definitely in contention with like
the traditional bonding curve implementation.
Yeah, it's like lower velocity, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, launching an agent has lower velocity tendencies anyways.
Yeah.
Because more work than just launching a picture, right?
Yeah, I guess you want it to kind of like funnel into this direction, right? Because it hopefully this fosters like more quality stuff.
Yeah, correct. All right, guys, that's it for us. We talked about several launchpads today. If we missed any, please put it in the comment section below and let us know. And if you want us to talk about anything specifically that you found in crypto Twitter or different crypto projects, let us know as well. We appreciate you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.